You ever feel like you're on a treadmill? You chase a goal, you finally get it, and for a split second, you feel great. But then that restlessness just creeps right back in. It's a feeling we all know, right? Especially in our crazy, hyper-connected world. Well, what if I told you the answer to this super modern problem comes from a preacher from way back in the 18th century? Today, we're going to dive into Jonathan Edwards' incredible message on finding real, full contentment in Christ.
So, let's get right to it. What's behind this universal itch, this constant, kind of nagging feeling that we're always missing something? We get the dream job, we find an amazing partner, we take that perfect vacation, and for a minute, it feels like everything. But then the feeling just fades, and that thirst comes right back. What is this deep human craving all about?
Okay, so Jonathan Edwards, he starts his diagnosis right here. He says, this longing for happiness, it isn't some kind of flaw in us. It's actually a feature. It's a universal, totally unavoidable appetite that's baked into our design. So according to Edwards, the problem isn't that we're thirsty. The real problem is that we keep drinking from all the wrong wells.
So first, we've got to understand the nature of this thirst we all feel. Edwards doesn't see it as a problem we need to fix or a weakness to be ashamed of. Nope. He says it's the very engine of the human soul. It's this universal craving that gets us searching for meaning and satisfaction in the first place. It's the starting point for everything.
Okay, so if this thirst is totally natural, why does it so often lead to just frustration and burnout? Well, this brings us to the second big idea, why the world just can't quench it. Edwards points out this, fundamental mismatch between the infinite nature of our souls and the very finite things the world has to offer.
So here's how Edwards breaks down this mismatch. On one side, you've got the soul. He describes it as having this vast, almost infinite capacity. It can always stretch further, it can always want more. But on the other side, you have what the world offers, money, social media likes, career success, and all of it is by its very nature finite. It has a limit. See the problem? We're trying to fill an infinite container with a finite amount of stuff. It's just a mathematical impossibility.
And this right here is the result of that mismatch. The second our soul finds the bottom of something, the limit of its satisfaction, the magic is just gone, and that craving comes rushing back. This is what fuels what Edwards calls that restless craving state. We are literally designed to crave something infinite.
All right, so if the problem is an infinite thirst that finite things can't possibly quench, then what's the solution? This is where Edwards makes a big pivot. He introduces this powerful metaphor from the book of Isaiah, the promise of a river of water in a dry place. This is where his argument flips from diagnosis to remedy.
Just think about the difference for a second. A cup of water, sure, it can quench your thirst for a moment. But a river? A river is an inexhaustible source. For Edwards, this is the perfect picture of Christ. He's not just a sip of water. He's this plentiful provision, a fullness, like an ever-flowing fountain, a source that never, ever runs dry, no matter how much you drink from it.
Now, Edwards doesn't just leave us with a cool metaphor. He actually breaks down what he means by the fullness of Christ, giving 3 specific reasons why he is this river of water, the only thing that can truly and finally satisfy the infinite capacity of our souls.
So here's the roadmap for his solution. The satisfaction we're all looking for, he says, rests on these 3 pillars: his infinite excellence, his unparalleled love, and his unique role as the way back to God the Father. Let's take a quick look at each one.
First up, there's what Edwards calls his infinite or transcendent excellence. The idea here is that our minds, our souls, they're built to be fascinated by what is true, good, and beautiful. And in Christ, the soul finds an object so excellent, so deep, that it perfectly matches our own infinite capacity to explore. It's something you could study for all of eternity, and, as Edwards says, you would never come to the bottom.
This is probably Edwards' most brilliant analogy of all. The things of the world, they're like little streams. Yeah, they can give you some temporary relief, but they always run dry. But finding your satisfaction in Christ, that's like moving from a tiny stream to the entire ocean. The search is just over. You found the real substance, not just the shadow.
The second pillar is his sacrificial love. And this isn't just about admiring some distant, perfect being. Edwards really stresses that true contentment comes from the deep experience of being loved by Christ, a love that is so satisfying precisely because of who he is.
And we're not talking about just any kind of love. Edwards calls it a dying love, a love that was proven in the ultimate sacrifice. He argues its power is totally unparalleled. I mean, in his view, To be loved by a being of infinite worth with a love this profound, that is more than enough to satisfy any human soul for all time.
And finally, his access to the Father. Edwards says the ultimate poverty, the ultimate emptiness of the human soul is its separation from God, who is the source of all riches and all happiness. So Christ provides contentment by being the bridge that closes that gap for good.
And Edwards grounds this final point right in the words of Jesus himself, from the Gospel of John. So this isn't just about finding a path. It's about finding the one and only bridge back to our true home, the ultimate source of all joy and satisfaction.
So after laying out this entire really logical and deep theological argument, Edwards doesn't end with a conclusion. No, he ends with an invitation. This isn't just some theory to understand, it's a call to be answered.
He leaves us with the words of Jesus himself, a direct, personal call to anyone, to any single person who recognizes that deep soul thirst we've been talking about. The invitation is as simple as it is profound. Come and drink.
And that leaves us with a final thought to really consider. Thinking about everything Edwards has said, the question for each of us, for you and for me, is a really personal one. In those inevitable dry places and weary lands of our own lives, when that deep thirst rises up, where are we turning to find water?